leader must be able to build systems. There has to be a system within a team that works. One of the greatest mistakes that entrepreneurs make is that they feel their subordinates or their employees cannot do without them. Whatever information that you know that made you an entrepreneur, that subordinate nonsense. The customer has an alternative, just like the employee. Losing an employee means that your competitor is gaining an additional mind.
Today, we're going to talk about something very, very interesting. I believe it's one that every young entrepreneur needs on their journey, and that is leadership. When it comes to building a business, it's not just about skill, ideas, funding, or even strategy. It's about people, knowing how to lead people, knowing how to delegate without losing control, knowing how to, handle conflict. A lot goes into leadership. And our guest today has a proven track record of helping individuals, teams, and organizations optimize leadership structures, streamline operations, and foster cultures of innovation. He leverages tailored coaching sessions to deliver measurable outcomes. He's known for his evidence-informed presentations and deep understanding of leadership dynamics. He also applies a personalized coaching methodology that empowers clients to overcome challenges and enhance their performance. Our guest today is in the person of Mr. Nanayaw Ado, but he likes to be called Nanado, right?
Sorry.
Fantastic. I see in your profile that you have 8 books.
Yes. Thank you once again for having me here.
Great. Thank you for coming.
Your entire team, thank you so much for bringing me here. It's a delight to be sitting right in front of you to share some thoughts with you. And I believe that our viewers are really going to enjoy it. So they should just take their notepads and their pens that we can just take off here. Yeah, so regarding my books, yes, I have done a number of books. Now I've done about 11 books.
Wow.
I've also written books for people, what we call ghostwriting, for
people
in Ghana and then outside of Ghana. But that is classified, so I cannot disclose who they are. Basically, my books are religious, but it's centered on principles using the Bible. So I have my first book, The Right Mindset of Prayer. My second and third, The Starting Point, talks about the Christian faith. And then my third book, Why Me? And then I have See the End from the Beginning. I have Why Not Try? I have When Destiny Calls, and a few others.
Wow.
So that's it about my books.
But I find this particular book interesting. Why me? What inspired that title?
All right, so most of the books I have written are, especially with the one which are personalized ones, are born out of what I have gone through in my life. You may not see me directly in there, but if you know me so much on a very personal level, once you really know that this guy is talking about himself. So what really informed Why Me? I looked about 2 things. Number one, how our society is going down the drain, and then secondly, I looked about what I have gone through. I was repeated in senior high school. I had to stay home for 4 years before going to university, and then finally got to university, and then became the best graduating student in my department, and a few others. So I look at all that, and then I give about 7 or 8 things that people find themselves in that makes them regret, and how to come out of that regret. So those are the things that Why Me is about.
Wow. Then I think that's even like a step, in taking leadership on, because you are not directly leading the people, but your stories and everything you've written down is going to be a game changer for someone. Right. Today we're talking leadership, okay? And I believe there are some young entrepreneurs out there who are starting out, and for some of them, obviously, they can't afford to hire people like senior staff into their company, and so they are looking out working with those who are now coming up, and there's a bit of uncertainty. Can I trust these people? What do I do? How am I sure that I can believe in the potential of the person to put them on? What would you say to such people?
So first and foremost, we'd have to look at what leadership
right
is about. I know a lot of people define this and define that. I'm not too much used to defining things. The very moment you define a thing, you put a limitation to it.
Right.
So the definition goes to the extent to which you have defined it, and that's all. So I like to give pointers around what leadership is about, and then you would be able to identify yourself within it and know what best works for you. So basically, when I talk about leadership, we are talking about what you are not. So that's the first thing. A leader should know what he or she is not. I am not the type who likes to be lit. I'm not the type who likes to be chaotic. I'm not the type who likes to be this. Once you are able to identify what you are not, automatically you are able to form what you are.
Yeah.
And that is what moves you into leadership. So talk about people who are autocratic, democratic, laissez-faire, parental type of leadership and all that. You will find yourself in it based on what you are not. That gives rise to what you are. So that is what leadership is about. So an assessment of what you are not. Once you know what you are not, it now drives you. It gives you a sense of purpose. It gives you a sense of clarity. It gives you a sense of vision. It gives you a sense of an understanding of what works best for you and what doesn't work for you. When you understand what works best for you and what doesn't work best for you, then you know which people you should bring on board. So you can bring a sand and you will be able to extract gold out of it.
Right.
It all depends on you. It has nothing to do with the people who are coming on board. The people who are coming on board are basically coming to align with what you are and what you are not. So the first way to get people who seem to be nobody and refine them to be the pros in your organization or in your team is to, like I said, identify who you are not, and by virtue of that, it will give you what you are. Number two, you should understand their passion. You should understand what they are passionate about. And so when you interview them, put their CVs aside and then have an honest conversation with them. What is your plan? What are you up to? If you've completed university and we should ask you that, what do you want to do in the next 5 years? And that thing cannot shake the tables, then it means that you are not worthy, but you kind of will struggle to be part of a team.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, you are asking that, what are you passionate about? What is it that drives you to do what you want to do? What is it about you that moves you are so eager about to transform your society? What is it that upsets you? What is it that keeps you awake? So number two, you have to be looking at the person's integrity level. You ask probing questions that you look in the face of people and then you'll be able to understand what they are. And then you would be able to know that these are the people I can bring on board. Then in the process, you can also share your vision with them. Give them a case study. How are you able to solve this problem? By so doing, you'll be able to understand their thinking level and you'll be able to bring them on board. Last, you could give them projects via internship, via voluntary services. So let us, a classical status as case studies, volunteer on this thing and then let's see how it goes.
Right.
By way of seeing their skill set, you'll be able to know that this person has a potential for now, and so I have to use them. It doesn't mean that all the people who come for the interview don't have, but sometimes because of the urgency of what you are doing, you need a particular people who have a certain pedestal and then you can use them. So that is how to identify raw material and then refine them to become pros.
Okay, so now in the case where we've been able to identify people who align with the vision,
Exactly.
and quite unfortunately, these people have certain character flaws that are not going to really help the organization.
Exactly.
Would you say that we should now weigh the two and say, okay, this person really aligns with the vision, but say their character is not so good, but it's manageable, you know, when it has to do with certain values that they have, and it may not be in line with the values of the company. I don't know if you get where I'm coming from. How do you handle the two? Is it that one should be better than the other? Should one be more? Should you look at one and just try and handle the other? Okay. How do you navigate that?
So we have a constant figure here. What is the vision that you want to?
Yeah. And
the variables are the characters here. Now, if you are saying that a character can be manageable, the manageable means that there has an implication on the constant.
Right.
So what is that effect that would have on the constant? If that would drag the vision, then I'm sorry, you cannot be in it. Because you see, the character of a person has formed over the years. And excuse me to say, in a very blunt way, we are not about to babysit you. We are only about to shape you. So if we have to babysit you before grow you up before you come on. You just be dragging us in there.
Right.
So it has to correspond. The values, the character of the person has to be. I mean, you cannot be someone who is disrespectful, and then you have to be at the reception. I mean, it's not going to work.
Of course.
It's no matter how
of course.
polished you are, no matter your CV and all that. I mean, I'm sorry, we don't want you in the organization, and we don't have that energy to come and refine you. It doesn't mean you are not good, but maybe you have to do it by yourself. So that is how you have to look at it. So it has to really correspond. Let's say the person's color coding is not too good, like myself. I mean, come and see me coming to pick a shirt or a shoe, I have to be struggling and all that. That is something that we can work on. Because the company has some color blends. So the person may be limited to come in, that we can manage it. But when the person is obviously a nonchalant person who has a lot of flaws, I mean, we have a certain ethics in our organization, but you are so powerful from it that I'm sorry you cannot come into it.
Right. So then you say that there should be a healthy balance between character and competence.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
As an entrepreneur, you carry the vision for the company, whatever it is you are handling. And sometimes you are tempted to want to do everything by yourself. And as the business expands, of course, you can't carry everything on your head. So that's when delegation comes to play. And I believe a lot of entrepreneurs find it difficult to delegate because they feel that this person won't do it the way I want it to be done. Even if I'm spelling out the task, I feel that they won't do it to the point I want it to be done. Especially for melancholies, people who have that personality type, perfectionist. They want this to be done this way, that way. So then delegating it becomes a bit of a challenge. How do you delegate tasks without feeling like you've lost control? How do you do that?
Okay, so as a leader, you should know the strengths of every your team members. That's number one. You should know their strengths, you should know what they are capable of doing. And before I come to that, let me chip this in. A leader must be able to build systems. There has to be a system within a team that works. And the system would automatically allow you to delegate. All right? Once there's a system in there, you don't have to struggle. You know that this person is in charge of this department. Maybe not the person, but it's a department thing.
Right.
Once there is a department thing, automatically in the interview processes, you know which people to bring. In the process of the interview, you begin to know their strengths and their weaknesses. And when we say their weaknesses, we are only talking about things that they need to improve on. Weakness doesn't mean that it is a flaw which cannot be repaired. No. When we talk about entrepreneurship, when we talk about weakness, we are talking about things that you need to systematically grow. So, in essence, you have to understand their skill set. What are they capable of doing? So once you know what they are capable of doing, you assign it to them. You assign it to them where the need comes for you to come in, you make the suggestions. Where there is no need for you to make any suggestions and all that, you allow them to have full autonomy on it.
Right.
They take responsibility and they are accountable. Responsibility means that they bring their own ideas, their innovative ideas to do it. Accountability means that there is a system that says that every Monday at 10 a.m. we need to have a meeting. And by that meeting, you'll be able to track the progress, and then you'll be able to chip in that your suggestions and all that, and they'll be able to go in. So that is the way to delegate, understand their skill sets, and then give it to them and encourage them. And also, that is how they will learn to grow. That is how they will learn to grow. A leader, the success of a leader is for him or her to be absent physically and the system is still running.
Wow.
That's true leadership. That's true leadership. You shouldn't always be there. That is why companies like, I don't want to advertise any company here. So that is why Africa Street MBA, the leader is not here, but the system is still running. That's true leadership. You don't need him to be here. He gives the vision, he has delegated. Sika, you should be in this seat and then interview the people. Maybe another person has to scout, another person has to do the camera, another person has to do this and this and that. So you delegate, you tell them the vision, and they will be able to come in there. Perhaps if we put you behind the camera and the cameraman here, everything is going to be messed up. The ability to identify your skill, your potential, and then put you on is what delegation is about.
Fantastic. Wow. So I believe that in every company or organization, there's a sort of culture that binds the people together,
Exactly.
Because I believe once you have people, once you're able to connect the hearts of people to your vision, it's easier to retain them. Now, for someone starting out, building a business, how do you think they can go about, inventing some sort of culture to retain the people, to motivate them, to let them know, okay, fine, I know you buy into my vision, but I want to motivate you to go along with me. How do you do that?
I was on a TV station and recently, and I was being interviewed, but we're in the waiting room, and then I met this young man, and then we were just having a discussion and all that. And he said something so important. He said that he was consulting for an organization which the leader lost all the staff, and these were the top-notch, staff members, and then they left them and all that. And he was asking, why are they leaving? Why are they leaving? And it takes me to, I think, Job 13 or so. It says that what you know, I know, and therefore I'm not inferior to you. One of the greatest challenges or one of the greatest mistakes that entrepreneurs make is that they feel their subordinates or their employees cannot do without them. This is a hard truth that entrepreneurs must know. Because whatever information that you know that made you an entrepreneur, that subordinate knows it. Maybe the subordinate has the same qualification that you have, the same school that you have. The only difference is that you have the opportunity.
Yeah,
and they don't have.
It's true.
Then you let them understand that they are the greatest asset of the organization.
It's true.
Once you give them that impression, that's where I'm driving at now. Once you let your subordinates or your staff know that they are the greatest, before the first customer came, there was the first employee. Why do you think that the customer is always right? Why? Where from that mindset that the customer is always right? The customer has an alternative, just like the employee.
Yeah.
Losing an employee means that your competitor is gaining an additional mind. But losing a staff, losing a client or a customer only means that you are losing money.
Yeah.
But trust me, serving the clients well by getting the best for your staff only means that you may double the amount that you are getting from a client.
That's true.
I know an organization in Tema, I used to work with them. They have only one client, just one, like this. I'm not exaggerating, one.
Wow.
I wouldn't mention the company name. They have just one client. And in a day, it's a logistic company at Habo. In a day, they can clear about 20 containers continuously. It's just one.
From just one client?
Yeah, just one client. And trust me, as at the time I was leaving the organization, I still consult for them, but I had to go out and then just consult for them because I knew that was where the real thing is. As at the time I was leaving, they had over 150 container stack because they are always clearing containers. Always clearing containers. One human being. So what do? You let the organization understand that you, the employees, you are our greatest assets.
That's true.
You are the greatest asset. So give them that assurance. Number two, they should be able to understand that there is a progressive chart within you. Is it also sad that people struggle, work for 40 years in Ghana, and at the end of the day, they cannot buy or purchase a plot of land? Is it not so sad?
Very.
So knowledge is increasing. And that is why a lot of entrepreneurs feel that the youngsters are lazy. No, some of them are not lazy. At all. They just don't see future working with you. They just do not see future. I watched a documentary of a man who retired from a bank. He worked with them for about 30-something years or 20-something years, I've forgotten. And then he was sharing his story in Nigeria. He said that he started as a cleaner. He was a graduate, was struggling, so he started as a cleaner. And then he looked at, they gave him an assurance of growth. That, listen, this is the only thing, a graduate. So he started working in there. There was a vacancy as sales personnel. There was a bank. He applied. He said, okay, fine. Go out there, go and look for clients. Now, there was an opportunity for a teller. He applied. Yeah. On and on and on. And then he became the country manager.
Wow. He rose through the ranks, literally.
Yes. Why? Because there was, and he says, I have all the things. It was not just about the salary, but an insurance, a portfolio for me, So there's that progressive thing.
Even the networking is built over time.
Exactly the point. So I consult for a company in Nigeria, and then he was trying to recruit. I told him one thing, the CEO. I said, gentleman, retain your staff. He said, how am I going to do it? He said, I told him that as simple as an eye test, maybe once or twice in a year, because you guys are digital marketers, you are always working on the laptop and all that. You don't expect, how much is it? Tell them that, hey, go here, go and check your eye and all that. That is the progression. Number two, number three, there has to be a sense of respect for them. Respect what they bring on board. Once you respect what genuinely shows that appreciation, that respect for what they do, are they going to make mistakes? Exactly, they are going to make mistakes. But how you go about correcting them makes them feel respected. That you are not just using us and then dumping us. What is respect? Respect is that you know that when you are calling them off working hours, you apologize to them that, hey, then I'm sorry for calling you this time, but I think there's a need for us to do this. Can you walk onto your laptop and then do this? That kind of respect. That kind of respect. But these three things would motivate them to stay. Back to the Nigerian staff. One of his staff members wasn't feeling well. And then he went to the house to visit this guy. And then they were surprised that, okay, who is this? So he came out from the room, the staff came out from the room. He said, oh, sir, the parents and the sisters, according to what he was telling me, were surprised. They said, this is my boss. He's the CEO of my company. He said, what? In Nigeria? He came to your house to do what?
And
to visit
normal.
you. It's not normal. This doesn't happen. Fast forward. He now gets him fruit. He said, you're getting fruits on board. He now, Nigerians deal with transfer and all that. So he pushed. He said, whatever it will cost for this guy to be well, please do it. If you need more money, let me do it.
But so do you think that gesture is, in relation to his value at the workplace?
I mean, yes.
Do you think he's going to treat all employees the same way? Or is dependent on the value they bring on board?
You see, it's how the system you have created in there.
Okay.
It's the system you've created in there. I may not be able to go and visit everyone. Perhaps proximity. I was able to pass through. That's why I was able to go. But the fact that the systems work, the fact that there is that desire for everybody to be well. You don't need your boss to be here. But the fact that you know all the things that you need.
Systems in place. Right.
Okay, so by so doing, they will feel respected, they'll feel motivated, and trust me, they'll give out their best shot. They close at 2 o'clock. The organization I'm talking about, they close at 2 o'clock. He said sometimes they wait till 5 p.m. So can't you go home? He said, sir, please, we are waiting. It's a young and growing organization. He said, we are waiting in case a job comes. I said, no, don't worry, you can go home. He said, no. And they've been working in here, they're giving out their best shots. So that is how you motivate and then retain.
Everything you said just reminds me of this tree saying. There's a saying that
exactly.
It's like the CEO telling the employees that
Exactly.
If you're not there, this whole company is just a building.
Exactly.
You make the real work go on.
Exactly.
So I think it just embodies everything you said so far. Now highlighting the part that you spoke about correcting people when they err, I think that
Exactly.
because sometimes even in the most careful way, trying to correct people, trying to spot out their mistakes or shortcomings, and people may take it differently. Hey, is this how this boss sees me? I tried my best to, and is this everything he would say about it? How do you think entrepreneurs can go about criticizing people constructively without making them feel irrelevant?
Okay, that's fine. I think that you've worked with organizations before.
Yes.
You have never been in your process of being corrected or being sanctioned. Now they say we don't say punish, we say sanctioned.
Okay.
So in the process of being sanctioned, being queried at an organization and all that, I can tell you on authority that you were never upset of being queried. You were only upset of how you were being queried.
And so the approach matters.
Exactly the point.
Okay.
So entrepreneurs must find a way. It doesn't mean that you are kind of pampering them. No. Because you have value for them, because you have honor for them, you should find the best way of telling them. It doesn't mean you are going to compromise on the stiffness or what needs to be done, that needs to be done. Perhaps you said it openly, it's not working. You said it openly, it's not working. Why don't you call the person and understand what's really going on?
Yeah.
I was working with an organization where my dad had some crisis, so I was a bit off my dad. because my dad is far away from me and all that. So I was sending reports to my boss and all that, and mistakes and all that. My boss now comes in and says, hey, this is not you. And I was looking at, then I went to tell him that, my dad is bedridden now. And I was just informed. So in these few weeks, I said, oh,
Yeah.
Fast forward, I noticed that with a few things, I just spent my resignation letter and I left.
Oh.
Straight. Because as much as a human here, that's fine. But what about me?
Your mental health.
This is not Nana.
Yeah.
This is not Sika. This is not this person. What's really going on? So how we approach it is so important. And that is why I quoted, I think, in the job setting that what you know, I also know. And so I'm not inferior to you, boss. Or I'm not inferior to you, leader. Once you have that mindset that my subordinate can quit. Listen, a lot of people have thrown their dreams away and followed their boss for years simply because of how they were treated. You wanted to be a model or something like that, or you wanted to be, anything, a banker, you want to own your own bank, you want to own your fleet of cars and all that. And because you have been serving this man here, you said that, listen, let me put mine aside. Because whatever I'm looking for, the man makes me feel valued. The man, when I do the wrong thing, the way in which he tells me, you construct people to let them improve and not to kill them. That's the second thing. If the construction of a criticism comes to kill them rather than to exalt them or to motivate them or to give them that energy that, hey, you did the wrong thing here. I don't like this thing. I don't like the way you are talking to the clients. I don't like the way you are dressing. I don't like this thing. However, I think this is the roadmap. That energy, you can do it. Don't tell yourself you cannot do it. You can do it. Once that energy comes in, you will see them naturally giving out their best. Not everybody will take it. You cannot retain everybody. But there is a constant thing here, that no matter how fast they want to move, they may pause a bit and then say that this man has for once, or this woman has for once treated me like a human being, deserving. And because of that, I will calmly sit in here and then go in there. I used to ask my dad something. I said, I've seen all the work that you do. Why are you still in the company and all that? He said, what am I looking for? Whatever thing that I need, my boss, because my dad's boss, he's on retirement now. His boss was a white lady. To the extent that my brother, one of my younger brothers, he named him after the boss.
Wow.
That is how it is like.
Wow.
That is how. He said, come around, let's talk, let's have conversation. And sometimes I sit in there and I know that my father, this one day you are wrong. But the way this white lady would approach it. Guess what? My dad worked with this woman for not about 20-something years before going on retirement.
Wow.
That's it. So that is how we handle the approach. Sometimes you need to, quote unquote, blast them, but the how is so much. The how is so important. The how is so important that we approach it.
I think that the approach is equally important as the motive.
Exactly.
It's very important. Now, in Ghana, you mostly hear people say, "Ejuma eniho." It's an ejuma way when you know. If they are shouting at you, you don't like what your boss is doing, take it like that, because there's no job in the country. So I think sometimes entrepreneurs leverage on that to say, there's no job, like go.
Yeah.
Do you think in the economy we have now, it's really applicable to self-define? They are here because, if you want to leave. You will not easily get a job like that. So sometimes they feel like it's not really competitive as you make it look like, with regards to the economy in general.
Any leader who has the mindset of Opako, that is the beginning of your life.
You've heard people say that you love your job.
So it's number one, it's that leader has inferiority complex.
Right.
Yes. That's the truth. These are realities I'm sharing with you. Some of them are just scared of the employees, because when they know the intellect of these employees, they just have to kill the energy and make you feel unwanted. They make you feel like you are nobody, or whatever thing it is. They make you feel like you are not doing your best. So if you, the leader, you have that mentality of I don't care about you, you have just lost an employee to your competitor. You have just lost it. You may want to get this person off your job or your workplace or something, but even with the how. I tell my students when I'm doing some of these leadership classes, I tell them, you as an employee, anywhere you live and you cannot go back, you have to look at yourself. So there's two sides of the coin here. There is that employee and then there's that of the employer. So if you the employer or the entrepreneur, let me handle that one. You want to feel like you are failing. All right? You are failing in the first place. So you don't have to capitalize on it and then feel it. You may be growing in age, but not be growing in capacity. The organization may be growing in age, but you might not be growing in capacity. One of the ways for you to know the success of an organization is for you to know the retention rate of employees. If employee turnover is so high, you are just having a decline. I'm very sure you know organizations so much. Why organizations that do not exist again? They folded, like I'm talking about multinational organizations that folded like they never existed because of some of these mindsets. So what do you do then? What you have to do is to make sure that you retain them. You, the employee, position yourself to retain them. Number two, position your mindset as an employee to say that I am helping society to cut down on unemployment rates. Once you have that mindset, you will do everything possible to retain them. Now, let me come back to the main question, answering it. What do you do as an employee? I believe in one thing. I mean, people may have diverse views about it. Your viewers may have diverse views about it. Anyone who cannot respect you once you are a nobody will never respect you when you become someone.
Really?
Yes.
Even with the influence that comes
I'm respecting the influence and all.
Oh, that's deep. Of course. I get it now.
I hope you get me.
Okay.
So if I cannot respect you for you, no matter who, it's like in my mind, it's like I've seen a pig coming out from the mud and the pig has been polished. Yeah. Entertain me and all that mindset.
That mindset, right.
So if you, the employee, feel that you are not being respected, it's best you excuse yourself, because the employee is also having a life, a journey. Don't do anything that would cause you to denigrate your boss, insult or disrespect your boss. Don't do that. So the best thing is for you to excuse yourself. Secondly, and then you can come in again. If you feel that how you are being treated isn't the right thing, there is nothing wrong with you going to your immediate superior or whoever is doing that and having a dialogue with the person. That listen, I really want to work for your organization. I'm so much in love with the work I am doing, but I think that this and this and this is the issue that I'm having, and it gives me mental instability. It makes me feel inferior. It makes me feel down. It makes me not to be able to give up my best shot.
But say, some people can't even communicate in certain environments.
Yeah.
There's this tension, sort of. The way you are saying that you could actually approach a superior and say, I feel ABC. Yeah. Some people may feel that genuinely, but to communicate it is an issue.
It boils down the culture that has been pictured there.
Right.
Every employee would approach their boss when the room has been opened. So you, the employer, must create an environment that makes you approachable. And once that thing is there, they will be able to communicate freely from there. Two, the reason why people are not able to communicate freely, it's not because they cannot talk. It is because me cooking next meeting, there may be a topic. And entrepreneurs or employers must learn how to distinguish those things or distance those things, that when a person comes to confide in you and then express a view genuinely to you, you don't take it there and then let the person blatantly in front of the person, let them know that they are the ones they are talking about. But the examples you be giving or sharing will let them feel that you are talking about them, and it will kill them like that. So that is my point.
Okay, let's highlight a bit on correction. I mean, when you're correcting people, I've heard people say that it's better to correct in private and to comment publicly.
Yeah.
So you hail people for their efforts, how they are doing amazing. Yeah. But if you notice some flaws in them, you rather call them. And some people also say that, let's say you go to meet something that is wrong, like on the spot. It's hard to now wait and say, okay, I'll wait to call the person. to my corner, and then sometimes it's just impulse. You just say, "Hey, what you're doing is wrong," And I feel like some entrepreneurs don't know how to navigate this part, because you feel like, okay, I really want to correct this person in love, in private, but looking at the situation on ground, I have to say it. Do you think it's dependent on the approach once again, how they say it, and should it be in front of everyone? I mean,
there's certain things that needs to be addressed there and then.
There and then, yeah.
I don't see why an employee should go into the workplace and be playing game, and you're expecting me to call you.
Yeah. It's true.
I don't think you're supposed to be playing. We have to say it well.
It's call a spade a spade.
Call a spade a spade. Nana, you for real playing games by this time? Why? What's wrong with you? What's really happening? Is it that you don't have any work to do? So in that correction has to come questions. What's really the matter? Why are you playing game? Are you done what you're supposed to do? Are you done with this thing? I am displeased about this.
Yeah.
And then maybe you can walk off there. Then maybe a query letter might come in, and then from there maybe that dialogue may have to come in. So there are times that needs to be addressed there and then. But how again comes in? We go for a meeting and then you are upset and all that. Emotional intelligence is also very important in here, right? Where we are addressing the issue without adding personal sentiments or overly being emotional about it, right? So we go for a meeting and then you're upset about something. You can express your view. Nana, I am so upset about the way you are coming to work late. In front of everyone. So I say we kind of one-on-one, right? I don't like the way you've been coming to work late. You've been coming to work at 8:30, and I am not pleased about it. Every second counts. And the reason why I'm not pleased about it is because your absence at work makes the organization be on a deficient side. You are just letting the person know that we value you so much that 30 minutes now on my and so we are not able to function well. So that your 30 minutes, it's not all about we are losing money. No. Let the person understand that your part, it's like going to play football and then Ubia Bana keep a mind. It won't be on a striker, it be on a midfielder. You're not a football person, but Kakrana minimum, So that is how you correct them. And there are times too, you can call them aside. Maybe the person is writing emails, they both on ace and walls, it's not really collaborating well and all that. Then that one you can call the person. That's not the time for you to say it. Something like this, we don't say it publicly. The way you are constructing your sentence, what's the matter? Okay, because of this, maybe because of this, and you may make a recommendation. Start reading these books. Go on this YouTube channel and then watch this thing. Do this thing. That's the self-help. And then you'll be able to help the person in there. So these are two distinct ways to correct them.
Great. Now, certain companies unfortunately have to lay people off in times of crisis.
Exactly.
During the COVID period, it was very common where people had to be laid off and everything. With leadership in view, how do you, let your customers your employees know that I value you, but I have to lay you off due to ABC? How do you, balance the two? Tell them the truth without making them feel like, I'm feeling so bad. You just lay me off.
I think one of the most important assets of every organization is communication. Right? It's an asset that we cannot do without. And during COVID, where was I? During COVID, I was working in an organization where 45% of our salaries were cut. 45%.
That's almost half.
45% of it without any. People who know me may be able to trace where I was working. I'll see.
You'd rather not see.
I wouldn't say it again. So, fortunately for us, we weren't laid off. Because of the nature of the work, you couldn't lay us off. What do you do? What you have to do is for you to start from which ones can we merge, which of the departments can we merge, and obviously you are going to get the lowest hanging fruits of maybe the receptionist, maybe the cleaner, maybe you are reducing a certain numbers and all that. How do you handle, or which people, let me answer that with which people would you want to go? People whose works may not directly have a major dent on the organization. So which other people are you most likely to go for? You may want to go for the assistants, the deputies. These are the people you may want to lay them off. Unfortunately, you may have nothing to do about it. But give them an assurance that if I have to employ again, I will come back to you. That assurance. If you need a recommendation, come back, I'll give it to you. This is really the situation at hand, and that is why I have to let you go. Not because I don't need you, but it is the situation. Once you handle it this way, they don't feel offended. They never feel offended, and they will be able to go in there. So that is how to handle it, through communication. The right way, through communication. Which are the people? Certainly the lowest hanging fruits. Those are the people who, unfortunately, you may want to go off.
You said a lot today, absolutely. A lot of great things. Thank you so much. You want to speak to our listeners. There's somebody watching you, and maybe somebody who has expanded their business, has a lot of employees, and may have erred along the way. Maybe spoken to someone rudely. The communication aspect you spoke about didn't handle it so well, so maybe has lost some of his or her employees. There's even an employee who's also been very offended with how a boss or a former CEO treated him or her. What would you say to that person?
All right, so to our cherished viewers, I would say, let me speak with the entrepreneurs first, or the bosses first. What I would say is that there is always a new beginning, and the new beginning is tomorrow. You may have done something wrong yesterday, you can correct it. The only person who can stop you from achieving or making the right decision is yourself. It doesn't matter the wrong things you've done in the past. It doesn't matter how you've erred in the past. The most important thing you have to do to yourself is to make sure that you do a thorough analysis of where you went wrong, where you did right, and then you would be able to make amends in there. How do you handle people? You may not be able to handle people perfectly and all that, but there has to be a deliberate or an intentional growing path. Let them feel that they are valuable in the system. Let them feel that you really admire them. Let them feel that you really value the work and the skills they bring, the knowledge that they bring on board, and you'll be able to retain them. And to the employees, potential students, potential graduates, potential entrepreneurs and all that, no matter how bad a system is, there is that one thing that God has put inside of you that you can take advantage of. Don't be bitter about the way someone treated you. Be the person that you want others to follow. It's so key. Refine yourself. Get yourself in there. Read books. Listen to podcasts like this. And do whatever it takes for you to bring the best out of you. I can assure you that the world is waiting for you to celebrate you as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And that's a wrap. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. And thank you to our cherished viewers. Thank you for joining this episode. I believe you've learned a lot. I have learned personally that leadership is very important. How you treat your employees, how you talk to them is absolutely very important. You want to share this episode with a fellow entrepreneur and also assess your own personal leadership journey. And I'm sure you'll be blessed by it. Thank you so much for joining, and see you in our next episode. Bye.